Did you form an LLC for your business recently? Or maybe you filed your LLC and you have your EIN number now, and you're left wondering, what else do I need to do in order to be operating legally? In today's video, I'm going to share 5 steps that you need to take after filing your LLC to ensure that you're not making any mistakes in your business. Hi, and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Paige. I am the owner and lead attorney behind The Legal Page. We help small business owners get legally legit in no time without breaking into hives. In today's video, I am going to teach you what you need to do after you have filed for your LLC registration to ensure that your business is 100% legit. The first step is to get an operating agreement in place. What is an operating agreement? An operating agreement is the legal document that governs everything you do with your business. Remember, when you file your LLC, what that filing is called the Articles of Organization. And some people get confused that the Articles of Organization is indeed their operating agreement, but they're actually 2 separate things. The Articles of Organization is really just your business information that is held with the state that accompanies your LLC registration. But an operating agreement is an actual 4-cornered document and legal contract about how you are operating your LLC. An operating agreement shows who manages and who owns the LLC, what happens with profits of the LLC and how are they distributed, and of course, what happens with future what-ifs, such as dissolving the LLC, or if something needed to change with the ownership and management and members of the LLC, how is that going to be resolved? A good thing to mention here is that an operating agreement actually isn't legally required by your state. It's an optional document that you can upload when you file your LLC or thereafter. You can also send in an operating agreement to your state for your LLC. Ultimately, even though it's not required, here at The Legal Page, we highly suggest you get an operating agreement because you want a legal document to govern how you are running your business. And it's important because you don't want to have to make up how you are operating your business as you go, or as you add on new owners, or as you change out managers, so on and so forth. It's best to have that all set in stone legally from the beginning. An operating agreement also shows how the LLC is going to be managed, how decisions should be made, and how taxes are allocated. Overall, an operating agreement really helps manage the business internally. Of course, the Legal Page shop has your back if you are in need of a single member LLC operating agreement. You can grab one in the description of this video below, and it's a great template to get you started. Side note here, if you are a multi-member LLC or a partnership LLC, then it's best to work with an attorney in your specific state to draft up that partnership operating agreement for you, because oftentimes those are quite a bit more complicated than a single member and single owner LLC. And one other thing I wanted to mention here in step number 1 with filing your operating agreement is also to understand that you have to file what's called an annual report in most states. Sometimes it's a biannual report, and that is going to be kind of just ensuring that your state knows you are still an active LLC. So your state will send you information each year, usually in most states. Some states are a little bit different, but in most states, they will send you information that your annual report is due. And really all it is telling your business, yes, I am still at the same address. Yes, these are still the same managers of my LLC and business. And of course, we are still an active business operating. It's a small fee, but you do have to do this every so often with your state. A pro tip is to set a reminder on your calendar. As soon as you file your LLC registration with your state, make sure you set that reminder up a year from then, or when your state says that your annual report will be due, so that you don't miss that deadline. And when you file your annual report every year, this is also a great time to do an audit on your LLC operating agreement. Do things need to be changed or updated? Do you need to modify anything based upon how you've operated and ran your business this past year? Again, it's a great time to do both. Audit your LLC operating agreement, see if any changes need to be made, and of course, file your annual report with your state. Step number 2 after you filed your LLC is use your employer identification number that you received from the IRS to open a business bank account for that LLC. If you haven't received an employer identification number, EIN number, yet, then you need to go to the irs.gov website and click on File for My EIN. It's completely free and takes about 5 minutes. And then once you have your EIN number, a bank is going to be able to use your registration number for your LLC through your state and that EIN number to open your business bank account for that specific LLC. And if you're a sole proprietorship moving to an LLC, which most of you are probably tuning into this video, you need to be aware that sole proprietorships often commingle funds. So you may have a bank account that's kind of your quasi-business bank account, or you're just using your personal bank account as the income and receipts are being made for your business. But what's important now is you cannot commingle those funds because it'll essentially break the legal entity of the LLC. So you need an LLC business bank account where all of your income and expenses come in and out of only that bank account. Of course, if you have any problems and you need to kind of reconcile funds with this LLC business bank account, you can always transfer in and out of your personal bank account. But you want to make sure that that is noted as a transaction from your LLC operating business bank account to your personal bank account. And if you need help figuring out which business bank account you should open, I will also link a video that I have created for you below that goes over the best business bank accounts for small businesses. The third step is to look into applying for any necessary licenses and permits. Obviously, this will depend on where you are located. So your specific state, county, and local jurisdiction will tell you what licenses and permits that you need for your specific business and the services that you offer. With that being said, you're going to want to do a little bit of research on your own or have someone help you. Here are some examples of what you want to look for. Lots of different counties require permits for operating a business outside of your home. So that's something to look for. Do I need an at-home work permit? Some states will also require that you file for a specific permit due to the services that you're offering, such as a photography permit or a commercial filming permit for your state. And some states also require specific licenses for the services that you're offering to clients, such as some states have photography licenses and commercial filming licenses if that is the type of LLC that you have. Another example is if you own a venue, you're probably going to have to jump through some loopholes for, food and for having a lot of people at your venue, making sure that you have the correct insurances in place because it's an actual physical location that people are going to. You, of course, are going to have some licenses and permits for that. Also, if you're a mobile bar or a caterer or a bartender, then you need to make sure that you have the proper kind of tips certifications and serving licenses and permits in your state for alcohol and or liquor. And of course, if you're a caterer or in any type of food, such as a cake baker or any type of desserts, you are going to have a food handler's permit and a food safety permit through your state. And sometimes those are called permits, sometimes they're licenses, sometimes they're certificates. So again, do your research in your county. Most likely, you've looked into these permits prior to filing your LLC, but I just wanted to make sure that you didn't miss this step because there are a lot of service-based industry professionals out there who don't even know that they need to get licenses and permits. So that is why I mention it here in this step number 3. The fourth step is to get proper insurance. Your LLC is this limited liability company bubble that, of course, protects you legally and somewhat in terms of an insurance for your business, but it's not actually business insurance, which is why you need to look into how much insurance you need for the services that you offer. Some businesses are going to be more risky, such as adventurous elopement photographers or people who are filming in national parks and hiking all over and going so to these locations with their clients. But some people are kind of going to be serving their clients just behind the scenes. If you're a graphic designer or you're a website designer or a copywriter, you're only at your desk. So your insurance would probably be minimal for only errors and omissions. Of course, I'm going to tell you again, do your research. But here are a few types of insurances that you should look into and see if they make sense for the type of business that you own. The first is a general liability policy. This is going to cover all injuries or damages due to your negligence as the manager or a member of your company. Usually this type of insurance is business-wide, so it would probably cover your employees as well, as long as that is listed as such under the policy. Remember here that independent contractors are exempt from your general liability policy. So you have to make sure that they also have their own general liability policy for their business. You may also want to look into a D&O policy, directors and officers policy, or an errors and omissions policy. They're used interchangeably, but basically the same thing. And ultimately, what these insurances do is they make sure that if you are the operator, owner, and like lead copywriter for your business, say, that any types of errors and omissions would be covered under this policy that you would make. And then last but not least, don't forget a gear and equipment type of insurance. Sometimes this is an additional rider to your general liability policy. So you just want to ask your insurance broker if you can add that coverage on. So people who have lots of equipment here, think videographers, DJs, photographers, a lot of you have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of gear. You want to make sure that's covered because if any accidents happen or loss happens or damage happens or stolen gear happens, you want to make sure you're just paying a very small deductible to replace that type of equipment and gear. If you want to know more about why photographers, videographers, DJs need to get this type of insurance, I have also created a link for you down below in the description that you can click to learn more. And the fifth and final step is obtain proper contracts for your LLC. Of course, your LLC is going to be the one entering into these contracts now. And you, as probably the single member owner of this LLC, will sign on behalf of your LLC. What kind of contracts do you need? Before you sell anything or produce a type of product, you want to ensure that you have your main service agreement in place if you're providing services, or some type of product agreement in place if people are purchasing products from you. For example, if you're a wedding photographer, you're going to want to make sure that you get a wedding photography contract in place whereby both spouses that you will be working for sign on to all of the things involved with your services from the time of booking them to the time of final delivery of images. Or say you're a service provider just behind the scenes, behind your screen, and you're maybe a website designer. You need to ensure that the client that you're working with, which is probably another company, and your LLC are signing an agreement as to your services, your deliverables, project time frame, additional rush hours, so on and so forth. As you can see, it really depends on the type of business that you run, the products that you give to your customers, or the services that you deliver to your clients. I've linked below the legal page shop where you can search for your specific business services or products, and I will list out all of the different main service agreements or product agreements that you would need. And of course, if you have any questions related to what contracts you would need for your specific LLC, just pop them in the comments below and my team and I are here to answer those. As you can tell in this video, it's not just, oh, I form my LLC and register it through my state and I'm done. There are some necessary next steps that you need to take in order to be fully protected as a limited liability company. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you absolutely need to set up a business bank account with your LLC. And I just popped up a video on your screen here surrounding what business bank accounts are best for the type of business that you run. And it will also explain how you pay yourself as a single member LLC. So don't miss out and watch that video right now.